Hello and welcome back to International Kune for a brand new year of 2025. We've got Richard Hall, of course, here with me. Hello, Richard.
Happy New Year. How are you? How was the festive season?
The festive season is done and dusted, is well over. I'm just trying to cope now with 2025. It's been a very, very hard January, let's say, very filled with a lot of failures, the small things that make it even longer. January is always, Blue Mondays and that kind of thing. It hasn't been the best. How about you?
I've been to China and we're currently experiencing huge storms. So apart from that, fantastic. But no, in all seriousness, lots of football, which is always makes it all the problems a little bit easier.
Exactly, lots of football. And if I can always use Enter as my personal guru, let's say, I just said, that my 2025, January hasn't been the best for me. And for Inter as well, didn't start quite as it was expected, let's say, with, of course, that hard blow suffered in Saudi Arabia against AC Milan. But that's where I look at my team and think, yeah, maybe I should have the same mentality that they have. And they picked themselves up pretty quickly. With the matches against Venezia, then Bologna, and then Empoli. I mean, it was one tough blow, but it's well in the past. I would say. What do you think?
Yeah, well, there's a phrase that you won't find in any Oxford English dictionary that all the football pundits in the UK use, and the word is bounce back ability.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that they use for teams who suffer a blow, but then come back a lot stronger. And I think that's really important that Inter have done that and done it in some style as well. And from my point of view, maybe always the optimist, but I look at that sometimes and it can be those knocks that really set you on. And if you look, obviously we had that knock in the derby going back, and then the run of form after that was spectacular. So I'm positive still.
And it was spectacular, even considering the fact that we had a lot of injuries, with Çalhanoğlu, then Mkhitaryan as well, Acerbi as well, not available. And of course, luckily Inzaghi has got a big team on which you can count on. But still, it's not the easiest thing to do to go back on the pitch knowing that the people that have been in the starting 11 for the whole season cannot make it, So hats off for that as well. And Bologna, let's say a tough match as well at San Siro, a 2-2 that though show a lot of grit, I think, is a tough side. And as well, Empoli, another game at San Siro that we've had, show the three players that have been shining probably the most so far in 2025, but let's say during the whole season, with Lautaro, Denzel Dumfries, and Marcus Thuram scoring goals, and I'm sure in the following up in the program we'll talk about them a lot. And then of course UCL was back.
Yes, of course, yeah. Sparta Prague. It's one of those games that can be, you can underestimate teams sometimes, I think, in this new format of the Champions League, because sometimes you always got a game you think that's 6 points, and then in the group stages, and then you've normally got two tougher games. But in this one, you can be facing someone of real class 1 minute, and then Sparta Prague, especially away, it was. I wouldn't say it was difficult, but it wasn't 100% easy.
No, especially because if you think about it, Sparta Prague were looking for points. They were desperate for points. They were trying to make it into the playoffs, and of course, the 1.1 goal can make the difference for them. So you go to their house with the fans. Did you hear how loud their fans were, by the way?
They were incredible.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you will go to these places, and Sparta Prague, a huge team, obviously in the Czech Republic, and they will have that atmosphere, and they're used to winning, and in their own league, of course. And I mean, Jan Sommer again, we can talk about that, but it was it's fantastic. I mean, if you look at the goal that was scored, which we've just seen, that was I thought it was a fantastic strike. And yeah, I think Inter probably could have had a couple more in this game and made it a bit safer. It was funny because the possession was I think it was 62% something for Inter, but there was a fair few shots from Sparta Prague as well, so it was certainly not a game they were going to give up on.
True, and Lautaro Martinez with that shot, with that goal actually, totaled 14 goals, which put him alongside Adriano amongst the top strikers in all-time Inter top strikers in the Champions League. Another milestone reached by Lautaro Martinez, and everyone has been saying, everyone, I mean, not, you know, the media in general has been talking about the fact that he had a sort of a draft scoring goals, but Inzaghi especially highlighted how the importance of Lautaro is not just in scoring goals. Of course, he's a striker and he scored 135 in Serie A and now more. So you expect him to, but you have the confidence, you can rely on the fact he can score goals. And even if he doesn't, he's there supporting his team on the pitch, assisting and working the ball. He says himself that he's the first defender, yeah? So...
Oh, massively. I've made this point before, but when you look at with Lautaro, since he's been at the club, not only can he obviously score goals, and he's even getting better than that, in my opinion, but if you look at all the strikers he's played alongside, he's been able to, not many players can do that, to have a partnership that's so good with so many. And I think that's down to his selflessness. So, you know, when he wasn't scoring goals, he doesn't get his head down. He's still playing well for the team. He's still helping create goals for the likes of Marcus Thuram, for instance. And that selfless ability, I mean, in one element, it really helps, as you mentioned, the rest of the team. From a personal point of view for him, it's probably in his detriment, because if he was probably more selfish, he'd have more goals maybe. But he's still, to combine the levels of the goals he's got, he's still hugely impressive. And combine that, obviously, with the work rate that he has. And like you say, he is one of the first ones to track back. And he's very, very tunnel vision, very single-minded, and I think that resonates with the players around him.
True, and Marcus Thuram on this partnership that he's got with Lautaro Martinez, just before the game, as soon as he landed in Prague, he did an interview with us, and he said, La Tula, that's what we call this, the partnership, is calling me, Lautaro is calling me, and, it's nice to see that there's this kind of chemistry between them. Of course, the chemistry is not just between those two, because with all the goals scored this season by also himself, Marcus, and Denzel Dumfries, of course, the chemistry is something that is spread, I think, equally all over the team. And one player that has been contributing a lot as well on that game is Alessandro Bastoni, who is the central defender who's provided the most assists, 5 in the last 5 editions of the UEFA Champions League as of 2020 and 2021 season. So Bastoni, if you look at the game against Sparta Prague and the assist that he did later on, I mean, that was the assist is more of it was a cross that found Lautaro in that position. It was magical, wasn't it?
Oh, completely. I think the way that Inzaghi sets the team up, it obviously allows one, if not two, of the centre-backs at any one time to go out. And I think when you look at the passing range that he's got, he's shown that so many times. It is ridiculous. It's phenomenal. It's I can't, at the top of my head, and I'm old enough to know quite a few Inter defenders or defenders in general, that with that passing range. And, look, when he does have the ball and he gets himself into those positions, he is pinpoint.
So look at, this cross is like, where is that going to go? I thought the ball... I don't know, I thought he wasn't going to reach anything, but no, it looked like he had the radar on Lautaro. I mean, that's how perfect it was. It wasn't, you can't say that's good. That was a goal that turned into a cross. You cannot say that. Can you?
Well,
I wouldn't say that.
I think when Bastoni hits that ball, I completely think he knows who he's aiming for there.
Yeah.
And the finish, it's one of those angles. It's so difficult to say where that was supposed to be going. Personally, when you look at it, you can look at that again and again. I personally think he's gone for that, because when you see the ball coming from the side, Bastoni's not really got anyone to hit apart from that runner at the back, obviously, which is Martinez, and then he hits that. I think that's a perfect cross.
Exactly.
I actually think he's going for
Thanks for agreeing with me.
yeah, exactly. I had to look at it again just to make sure, but I'm still, positive.
And of course, in that game particularly, you saw Thuram was not on the score sheet, but he was so physical and fast. And you can see the superiority of a player who can sprint that fast. And of course, he's is very, physically is tall and muscular. You can tell how that can make a difference when he's in that position and he has to run past the defenders. I think it was sensational as well. Now, the new format of the UCL, of course, have us look at the table. I mean, every 5 minutes I'm there looking at the table, seeing in case I've missed something, I forgot, because everything was just before the game against Sparta Praga. All the teams, especially in the top 8, were so close to each other, 13 points. Now, of course, with the 3 points, we are more on the safe side option of going directly through and missing the playoffs, which is good because ahead of us, this February is jam-packed with fixtures, so that's good. But yet, we have another more game to play against Monaco next week. And of course, again, like you said, these games are a do-or-die situation, or in or out for certain teams. For us, it's more of a matter of get 3 points, but also scoring goals, because it's not, there's Aston Villa there that could create dangers for us. But if you ever look at what other more desperate teams at the moment, their situation is quite drastic. I mean, this new format has had a very strong impact on some of the strongest teams in Europe.
Yeah, massively. I also think that the way we talked about this last time as well, about the fact that Inzaghi's rotating so much with the chemistry in the team, where people are always ready to play. And it was, I thought at the time, I'd be honest, at the start of the season, a really risky move, and especially when the results were only just coming out. But now, when we get into this part of the season, when you look at teams like Monaco, for instance, who will be, consistently normally doing well in their league, they're normally in most competitions, they will be playing their best 11 at most possible instances.
Yeah, also because they're 10th now, so they are aiming to be part of the top 8 and missing as well a couple of games. So it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. I mean, that's also if I'm not wrong, on the 29th when we play against Monaco, and it's the last match day of the league phase of the Champions League, we all play at the same time. All these matches, correct? So so we are gonna be like looking at the match, but also looking at the.
That's gonna change so much in that time for me.
I wouldn't like to be a commentator on that night, to be honest, because ahead of us also, there's this thing. This year we are doing very well in the Serie A. We are the defending champions, and we want to defend our title. Of course, Napoli are doing a little bit better, but only because, remember, we got one match in hand. We've just gained back one match because we missed it during our away trip in Arabia. So we played against Bologna, what would have been match 19 of the Serie A. Napoli, of course, are doing a little bit better, but they're not in the Champions League. Yeah?
It always makes things easier, doesn't it?
It does a little bit. Thinking that Inter has just traveled to Prague, then, of course, on Sunday, we've got to travel again to Lecce, because the Lecce, in case you guys don't know what Lecce is not around the corner. It's like going from, where could it be in England? Like from Scotland to Portsmouth or something?
Yeah, so no, I would say maybe, Glasgow to Portsmouth, something like that.
Yeah, so it's pretty far.
It's not an easy trip at all.
So you got to travel, you got to prepare for that game, of course, and then, of course, next week, midweek fixture against Monaco. So, Inzaghi did say last year, however, we played both Champions League and Serie A, and we did win the title. So it's no excuse. There's no alibi there.
You can't really. I mean, when you look at all the great teams that have won, whether it's a treble, not many have done that, of course, or a lot of doubles. You can't use that as an excuse. I think that a lot of the great teams build on that. And like we were talking about before, the consistency of games. And the rotation of players just means that everyone's got to be ready all the time. And that does take a lot out of the modern player. But let's not forget, a lot of the opposition are going to be in the same way. And mentality as well, going away to Lecce. We've had some good results over there in the past. And,
let's go there right now. Exactly. Let's go there. But, I'm a fan of of your maturity in that sense.
Nice way to put that. It's always an old dig every episode.
No, but I like myself to dig into the archive and take a look at this old footage. All this, it actually is not that old, because we are going to 1997, away at the Via del Mare. Do you know what Via del Mare means?
I do. Is it not the Street of the Sea?
Yeah, how nice.
Italian's not bad.
Yeah.
I'm not going to cry here, though.
And then, of course, you had probably one of the most memorable matches there at Lecce, 5-1, with the important names on the score sheet. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I mean, that game, I remember that one just for that reason then, with the both posts from Ronaldo. I think he hit the post later on in the game as well, but Djurkav got 2, Ronaldo got 2, and Maurizio Gans got 1.
Yeah, and that season, Inter just signed Ronaldo, of course, and he became the top scorer with 25 goals. And so it was his debut season in Serie A, and on the bench for Lecce, there was Cesare Prandelli, who was also on his first season there as a first-team coach. How bizarre is that?
I know. That's when I start feeling old, when you see that. And it's the players that come onto the bench now, and you're thinking, wow. But no, I remember that season so well. Obviously, that debut game with Recoba and Ronaldo. But also as well, there's so many amazing players in that team. Incredible kit, just there. But those games there, there was so much talent. But that game in particular, I think if Ronaldo, even though he'd done amazingly well, I think he could have had another 3 goals in that game.
Right.
That's how good he was. He hit that post twice.
Look at that.
Yeah, unbelievable. And it's this is the sort of thing I really like. 'Cause you look back at some of the old Inter teams and you go, when there's a free kick, you're thinking there's 6-7 players who could take that. It's crazy. Right. But yeah.
Also, Lecce, speaking about braces, because here we have Djurkav and Ronaldo with a brace on the same night with a 5-1 at Lecce. Cino Recoba, Alvaro Recoba, and his birthdays. So twice it happened around his birthday. So his birthday was on the 17th of March. On the 18th of March, he went to play at Lecce back in 2001 and scored a brace. Then the following year, although he forgot his lucky shirt, that the one that you wear underneath your playing your game time shirt, he forgot it, but still managed, always around his birthday, to score and have the brace.
Absolutely ridiculous. He's one of my favourite Inter players.
Yeah. Just
because of what he could produce. I like players who are just 2 types of players, and they're really functional and aggressive players, and who are just consistently clinical. But watching a player like him, who could it's moments that you remember in football, and he's got so many. His highlight reel is obscene. There's one he actually scores as well in San Siro in '97, and that's ridiculous against Lecce again. But it's the fact that even goes in, I just used to, and the free kicks were always probably the highlight. And I think obviously on his debut, he certainly scores that ridiculous one. I think it's against Brescia or Empoli, I can't remember now. But his talent was fantastic.
Yeah, because it's more like down to his versatility, rather than being a typical striker or a centre forward that playmaker, let's say, or a wing back, or it was his versatility. Do you think that in today's Inter there's someone that can be that versatile, let's say?
Oh, that's really difficult.
No, it's not. It's not, and I'm gonna tell you why. and I haven't just come up with that. So it's been said that Denzel Dumfries is a defender.
That's very true, actually.
Yeah, actually, no, it doesn't go like that. He's a centre forward dressed up as a defender. But
that's a really good point.
Yeah, but the thing is that, with Denzel and, of course, Di Marco as well, so the ones that you call wing backs, but I heard someone say that we should not call them wing backs, because they're not defenders, really. Is that right?
No, absolutely, because it's a good thing, because as soon as you asked the question, I was thinking of the midfield, but no, like when you see Di Marco, the amount of assists, and some of the goals are up. I mean, that's the point. The quality of the goals, both from Dumfries and that sort of not overhead kick, but near overhead kick he scored recently. The goals that DiMarco scores are just phenomenal, and both of them have the ability. It's a good point.
But Denzel Dumfries, together with Lautaro Martinez, have scored more goals in 2025 than any other players in the Serie A. And you know, it's funny that it's Dumfries and Lautaro doing that. You know, it's quite funny as a match. But Dumfries has been the highlight of many matches so far. He's been really, really good. Yes, doing defending. I remember watching a very, back UCL against Leipzig. I remember watching some slow-mo clips of him defending and attacking and being able to dribble around players like that. That's what he does. But then, of course, he's able to put the ball, powerful shots with his head. Do you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the guy I was talking about a minute ago as well. Yeah, I mean, when you look at that, there's some players in Europe that the press will get on their backs, like Trent Alexander-Arnold, for instance. He can go forward, but he can't defend, apparently. That's not my words. But then you look, and Dumfries can do both. DiMarco can do both. And from my point of view, it's really rarely seen. I mean, if you look for an Inter example, you'd have to go as far back maybe as Andreas Bremer, who could do, with that sort of levels of goal-scoring ability. But the pace of both of them, I think this is one of the things that includes Barella and this and the rest of them and Thuram. It's the pace in which we can break. And that allows, but still, look at that finish. I mean, that is not the finish of a wing-back, a right-back, whatever you want to call it. It is a finish of a very, not every centre-forward can finish like that.
No.
So the high levels of quality from both of them are just a huge, huge asset because, forwards will have off days, and we've just got plenty of players who can pick up the slack.
That's absolutely true. And I must say that this year, Denzel Dumfries has really progressed into something else. This year is really showing his skills and abilities compared. He did well last season, but this year is really, you can count on him on doing a lot of things, a lot of different things. And Marcus Thuram as well is at 13 goals in the league at this point, and he reached the same number in the whole season last year, 14 in all competitions at this point, He was already at 13 last season, he reached 14 in the whole of the season. So, I mean, again, another player does.
I wrote about Thuram for somebody anyway, when he first came to the club. And obviously he played out wide a lot of his time at Mönchengladbach. And, my point was he's developing into a striker, but when's the step he's going to become an elite striker? And I think he did that really early on into his Inter career. It's not like he's always been at this level. And I think that it's in the environment with Lautaro, with the team around him, that he's really, it's not just about the ability to make yourself an elite striker, but the mentality to take the mantle of a team that's so experienced in some ways, and he's been, like you say, the speed is just phenomenal. And his technique and it's the confidence. I just feel he's playing with so much confidence. It doesn't matter who's in front of him at the moment. I always feel he's gonna score.
He's so relaxed as well. He's just so relaxed and in control of what he's doing. So you can always look at this. I mean, it's like the keeper is not even there. He's just gonna go right. That's what I'm going now.
And that's the other thing as well. I like players who play with a smile on the face.
Sorry,
players who play. He's always got a smile on his face. No. It makes a big difference. It's like one different if they're enjoying the game, they've already got the qualities.
Yeah, you can tell there are differences in personalities, of course, amongst the team. If you look at Eric Mkhitaryan, he probably doesn't smile as much as Marcus Thuram does, or Denzel doesn't, but he does. He just does it the other way around. So so like Denzel when he's a bit frustrated, let's say, he smiles. When he's happy, he tends to be serious, I feel like there are other athletes who do that. If you look at, I'm not sure if you know, but Thomas Ceccone, a famous Italian swimmer, when he breaks a world record, he doesn't smile. He just does a straight face. I don't know where that comes from. You've got to be crazy, but to do certain things, maybe, I don't know.
Paul Gascoigne, there's a good example.
Let's not go there.
No. We won't go there.
No, go there. Anyway, Lecce also brings back very good memories for Lautaro last season. Of course, another amazing game for Inter away at the Via del Mare when he reached a milestone and then, let's say, broke his record with the 100th and the 100th goal there at Lecce in an amazing game with 4 goals for Inter. In what was already February's what launched us to winning then the title and the 20th title in our history. And Lautaro there, of course, was probably on a different situation. But what he said about his condition is that, of course, I've started the preparation a little bit later this season because of the Copa America. So he came here a little bit later. He joined the team a little bit later. He had to adjust his physical condition to what the pace of the Serie A and the UCL is still now. And so, of course, now I'm in shape. Now I've reached my shape and I can do the things that I was used to doing. It's not like I can't score goals. Look, my foot has changed. Technically I'm still the same person. Obviously, if you have more stamina, if you're faster, of course you can be in a better position to scoring goals. It's very easy to understand, isn't it?
Massively, because it's fine margins. I mean, we're talking about the elite level here, and it's amazing, even the difference between the top leagues, the first and second league, the teams in the Champions League. But the levels, the elite levels, it is such fine margins. Then that's why that will make such a big difference. It's confidence as well. Once he's netted, then he feels like he's in shape. Then, like you say, nothing's stopping him because there's no way. He's got the history. He's got the ability. He's got the goal highlights. He knows he's confident now. So yeah, hopefully between now and the end of the season, he'll continue to put them away.
Lecce, on the other hand, are not sailing in smooth waters. Is that how you say?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
I just remember that I should stay away from British proverbs and that because they're very
good.
Yeah. So they are in 17th place of the table. They had a rough start of the season with Giampaolo. They managed to pick up a few points. But as it stands now, they are very, very near to relegation because, of course, with 19, 20 points, that's what you get. And they've got 21 points. And they've also just suffered a heavy defeat against Cagliari, a 4-1 defeat.
Yeah. It wasn't great, was it, that one at all? I mean, you look at the lineup when you go through with Lecce. I mean, I quite like Falcone, the goalkeeper there. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they go through that game, and I was looking at that lineup and thinking, okay, Kristovic is okay, and Kristovic is okay, Koulibaly and Dorgu, but there's no one there that shouts match winner to me, really. And I think they're really going to have to gather themselves as a collective unit. And against Cagliari, who, again, can turn it on a little bit, but have had some poor results. And people like Ante Rebic cannot be getting sent off in those games. They can't afford silly mistakes. So they're going to have to regroup. But the Via del Mare, I was going to talk about this, is, even though it only holds, 37,000? It can be quite an atmospheric stadium, I've always thought.
It can, but after all we said now about our so no, we're going to go there and do great because that's what we've always done. I'm sure that even though still, Inzaghi will have to turn some players around, considering what's coming up next. Not just after the game against Lecce at Lecce, because we got Monaco, like we said, the last UCL game of the league phase, very important, crucial game. But then we got another, and I was gonna say some freaking derby to play.
That's allowed.
That's allowed. Honestly, I was saying no, please, not another derby. But not because I love derbies. But when I say no another derby, it's because there's an emotional involvement that is too big to suffer again. I'm starting now, and today is January 24th, and there's two matches away, and I'm already still thinking, oh my God, there's another derby. Oh no, my God. It's not a crucial game, I would say. It's not that crucial that is that's not a Scudetto winner game. What do you think?
No, it's important. It's hugely important. I think that, when you look at the one, well, obviously it's not been a great one last time. And I think going into this now, if we can have some good results in the build-up to it, it doesn't matter where you are in the league. We know that these games are always close. And I think that Inter will, if they can get a result there, it will really catapult them into good form into the rest of the season.
That's so true. But it will go how it goes. But I don't think it's a crucial, it's a title winner, a signing game. But yet, it can do a lot to the general mood of the team.
Yeah, but you're right. It's not. I mean, if God forbid we don't win that game, I think Inzaghi, I would certainly be spinning it, saying, okay. Now you can build, and we did, like I said last time. But it's a game. You don't want to lose any game, but especially not.
Yeah, of course. Anyway, let's not think about that. Let's focus on one game at a time, as our coach Inzaghi says himself. First off, we'll see you all for Lecce Inter this Sunday. It's been a pleasure being with you, talking to you.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Thank you always for having me as well.
Thank you and goodbye. Take care.